Okay, we are starting on slide 39 today. So these are writing and graphing compound inequalities. So a compound inequality is what we've been doing, what we did yesterday, where we figured out what the interval was, and then we wrote either and if it's connected, it's everything between those two numbers, and or if they're going opposite directions. So we have the compound inequality. This is called the intersection. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. The graph of a compound inequality with and is the intersection of the graphs of the inequalities. So instead of writing and, we can write, let me show you, let me do a little scribble. It's intersection would go like that. Oh, that looks terrible. It's and like that. It looks really bad, but you'll get the idea. It's like a little upside down U. I'm going to take that off. So x is greater than 2 means it goes to the right, and then greater than or equal to. And then x is less than 5 means it goes to the left. And those two together means we're going to cut off at those two numbers, 2 and 5. Then we have the or compound inequality. That is the union of them together. That means this or that. The graph shows numbers that are solutions of either inequality. So we have x is less than or equal to -2, meaning it's going to the left. X is greater than 1. Then we have them listed together with or between them. Another thing I wanted to point out, let's do a text box over this, and we're going to change the color so we have a transparency over the top of that, but I want it to be yellow. So make it yellow, but then we are going to edit the transparency by going to custom and then move the transparency down, and that makes it where you can see through it. Okay, so this is a compound inequality. We can write it two ways. We can write the two inequalities, this and this, or we can put them together. So see how x is in the middle? X is somewhere between 2 and 5. So we put x in the middle, and then we put 2 and 5 here. And then if you're going from least to greatest, you always do less than symbols. If it's a solid, I guess a closed dot, then it's going to be or equal to. If it's an open, then it's just going to have less than. So we are going to write the inequalities like this now. You can write it like this or this, but we are going to practice writing it like this for the ones that overlap. These over here can still be written the same way with or between them. Okay, so let's go down to 3 through 6. Write the compound inequality that's represented by the graph. So we are going to have to use equatio. And we are going to put x in the middle of the two numbers. So the two numbers going from least to greatest is -3. I usually just set it up like that first. Or you have x in the middle of -3 and 2. Can y'all see that in the back? I know it can be a little small. Let's see. So I'll move it up. And then we always use less than because it is going from least to greatest. And this is an open circle, so we're just going to put less than. I'm going to delete these spaces. Go. And then for the 2, it is closed, so it's or equal to. So less than, equal to. So remember, X goes in the middle, and then you go from least to greatest, and you always use the less than symbols. What this means is that X is less than or equal to 2, and X is greater than -3. So remember how I taught y'all about flip-flop yesterday? We have this. The -3 is less than X. Or if you flip-flop it, it's X is greater than -3. So we can write them both ways. I just want you to see them both ways on just this example 3. So insert that in. And's italicized because it is in math type. If I do like this and hit text, it'll go back. So if you want to do that, you can. Because you're putting everything in math font. And so math font is making everything italicized.
You want us to do a little box, like fill it with?
Yeah, that way it's where you can see it real good. So put it over here. I have this box from earlier, so I'm going to copy and paste it and put it over the top of it. Okay, from now on, we don't have to do the and. We can just do the one line compound inequality. So let's look at 4. It's at -7, open circle, 14, open circle, and we're going between the 2. I'm just going to delete it all. So we have 7, and we always use the less than symbol. It's open, so we're just going to put a less than symbol. And then X. And then another less than symbol because it's also open at 14. So you go from least to greatest or left to right. Okay, so let's do the next one. They are going in opposite direction, so this is an or inequality. So we are going to do them separate. So just like up here, we'll do the left side and then do or the right side. So the left side says X is, it's going left, so it's less than or equal to, because it's closed, -7. Yes, and I wrote greater than. Seeing if y'all were paying attention, you know. Or X is greater than or equal to -4. I'm going to change this or to text and put a little bit of space in between there. Okay, did I do it right? Check me. go. Okay, let's do the next one. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, so this one, moved it too much. There we go. It is a closed circle on 4, and it's going left, so x is less than or equal to 4, or x is greater than 6. Stretch that. That was weird. There we go. Okay, so let's look at 7 through 10. Write the sentence as an inequality. Graph the inequality. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Okay, so it says, number 7, a number p is less than 6 and greater than 7. So let's see. Less than 6. Did I say 7? I don't know what I'm saying. P is less than 6 and greater than 2. So since it's an and, it'll be a compound inequality, and you go less from least to greatest. You know, I can't see both of those at the same time. Let's make it maybe bigger. Move it up. There we go. So P is less than 6 and greater than 2. So since it's an and, we'll put X in the middle. And we'll go from least to greatest. So which one do we do first? Which one's smaller? 2. So 2. If it's just, it's an and, so we know we're going to use the less than. Oh, and it's P. I need to change X for P. And then less than 6. So what we could have done is P is less than 6 and P is greater than -2. We could have written it, not negative, +2. We could have written it like that and then written the compound inequality. But since we're going least to greatest, and it's an and inequality, I mean, you have to go less than. And we're supposed to, how about we graph it on our paper? Unless y'all want to graph it in on the notebook. Let's just graph it here. So get out your composition book. So this is slide, what slide is this? Slide 39. Okay, so draw a number line. So 2 is less than P is less than 6. So I'm going to put 6 on the far right. Bless you. So both of these will have open circles. And since it's or, we are going to highlight in between or color between. Bless you. Okay, do y'all have any questions on those? It'll just take a little while to get used to it because it's a little confusing at first, but we'll take our time. Okay, let's do the next one. A number n is less than or equal to -7 or greater than 2. So since it's an or symbol, or compound inequality, means they're going opposite directions. So we'll have two different inequalities. So n is less than or equal to -7. Or it says greater than 12. So we'll put n again because that's our variable that we're using this time. N is greater than 12. Insert that in, and then we are going to graph it on our composition book. Thank you. All right, where did it go? And all the way up here, so I'm going to pull it down. Try to pull on the corners so it doesn't distort the way it looks. I have to put little colored boxes around them. And now let's write it down in our journal. So n is less than or equal to -7, or n is greater than 12. We don't have to go by ones. So I'm going to put a -7 here. And then we need to go all the way to 12. So let's do -6, -4, or let's see. No, that would go by 1. So let's do -5. We'll go by 2s. It wouldn't get to 12. It would get to in between. How about we just do like this? And let's say there's that many between them. Y'all okay with that? So we have -7, and we have 12. And somewhere along the way, there's a 0. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So let's see. So if we're going n is less than or equal to -7, we're going to have a closed circle. And it's going to go left. And then greater than 12, open circle, right. So they're going opposite directions, and that's the OR compound inequality. Okay, let's do the next one. A number M is more than 7 2/3, or at most -10. So let's see. This one's kind of confusing, right? What does that most mean? Less than or equal to? So let's do equatio. So M is less than or equal to -10. That was the second part of it. And what was the other part? More than -7 2/3. So M is, if it's more than, what would that be? Greater than -7 2/3. And what kind is this? Is it an and or an or? Or. If I can pull this back up here. No, I can't. No. Okay, so let's draw our number line. Okay, so it says, oh, I need to write what it is. M is greater than -7 2/3, or M is less than or equal to -10. Okay, so which one's the leftmost number? Okay, so -10, -9, -8, -7, -6. I'm skipping a line. -11. So I kind of have an idea of what this looks like. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. All right, so it says greater than -7 2/3. So is that closer to -7 or closer to -8 or closer to -6? Closer to -8. And it's an open circle? Let's make sure. is more than, so it's not equal to. It's just more than. So it is open like we have. And so it's going to go right if it's more than. That means it's going to be greater than. And then less than or equal to negative 10. So close. Less than means go left. So it's anything here, not including between negative 10 and negative 7 and 2/3. Okay, the next one, last one. A number R is no less than negative 1.5 and fewer than 9.5. So how can we write that? Greater than or equal to, it's no less than, so it has to be greater than or equal to negative 1.5. Is that the number? And fewer than 9.5. So it's an and. So should I do the R in between? Because I can do the compound inequality like that. Fewer than 9.5. So this is less than or equal to. What about the 9.5? Is it less than or equal to? Just less than? Because it says fewer than, so it does not include it. Okay, did y'all get what I got now? Okay, so write this inequality down in your composition book. So it's an and inequality. So it's everything between those two. So negative 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Oh, it's going to take a while because we're going up to positive. So this would be down to 0 and then back up to 9.5. We're going to kind of guesstimate on the graphing of that. Just make it where it's proportionate. So that's a small amount, but this is a bigger amount between 0 and 9.5. So it's everything between the two. So this is the or equal to. So we're going to do a closed on negative 1.5 and an open on 9.5. And it's everything between. Okay, are we good on that? Were y'all able to write it down, graph it, everything? Okay. So let's look at how to solve inequalities, compound inequalities now. Solve and graph the following inequality. Ooh, look, now we have 10 is less than 2x plus 8. It's less than 16. If we were to read this out loud, we would say just what I said. 10 is less than 2x plus 8, and 2x plus 8 is less than 16. Notice how the word and separates the two inequalities. There are actually two different ways to solve this inequality because we only want a variable in the middle. So we got to solve this. The first method is to separate this into two different inequalities and solve each independently. The second method is to solve both parts at the same time. I'll show you both ways. You can decide which one's best for you. So for this method, we will use the word and write two different inequalities. Take note on how the expression in the middle is used twice in order to write the two different inequalities. So in your composition book, I want you to write the title, the Solving Compound Inequalities, slide 40. Okay, and then we are going to write the inequality. And we are going to do the first method, which means we are going to separate the two inequalities. So this one, this side is easy to write. We're just going to write 2x plus 8 is less than 16. Do it. Yes, for the next one, which is this, it'd be 10 is less than 2x plus 8. But we need to flip it. And flip the symbol. So it'd be 2x plus 8. Instead of being less than now, it's greater than 10. And then we solve them individually. Minus 8 to both sides. We get 2x is greater than 2. Divided by 2. X is greater than 1. And then the other one, subtract 8. Two x is less than 8. Divide by 2. So x is less than 4. So now we need to rewrite it back as this. So we have these two, x is greater than 1 and x is less than 4. But we need to write this as an inequality, as the compound inequality. So x goes in the middle. X is greater than 1. That means that 1 is less than x. And then just do the other one. So you're flipping it again to get it like this. So let's go ahead and do the number line. Okay, so it'll be an open circle on 1, open circle on 4, and it's an and, so it's everything between. Okay, so this was method 1. But I feel like y'all are going to like method 2 better. Method 2 is where you don't separate them. So let me pull up the slides real quick. We're going to insert a picture in here, but I don't know. Method 2, which is on the slide, we're going to solve the inequality in a different way. Instead of separating, we're going to leave it as 1. Remember the famous quote that says, whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side? Well, when you're doing compound inequalities, whatever you do to one side, you must do to all sides of the equation. So we have 3 different parts, 3 sides. So whatever I do to this side, I have to do to part 2 and part 3. So let's rewrite this equation, and we're going to work it out the way of not separating it. So basically you have 3 parts. So draw a line down your inequalities. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to all the sides. So I need to get x by itself in the middle. So I need to move this plus 8 out of there. So if I do minus 8 in the middle, I have to do minus 8 on both sides. So these will cancel, and then the left side, 2 less than 2x is less than 8. And then I need to divide by 2 on both sides. Not both sides, all 3. Leaving us with 1 is less than x is less than 4. You like that way better? Yeah, I do too. I like that way too. All right, that is it for notes today. You do not have homework today. We'll finish this lesson tomorrow.